Hello, welcome back to Learning with Ms. H. Today we're going to go through really quickly the expectations and lab safety for you. This is going to apply whether you are in person or virtual. So let's get to it. When you go through these, remember that you are going to open them up in a new tab so you don't have to continue hitting the back button. So let's go to the classroom expectations first. So please read through this document. It is important for you to understand and have a really good school year for the entire year. This first segment is going to apply to everyone, whether you are virtual or in person. The second set, number 5 through 10, is going to apply only to in-person students. And then we'll go through the emergency procedures, also only for in-person students. So if you're virtual, you can skip ahead until you see us switching to the lab safety document. All right, rules and expectations. Rules are there to keep us safe. I like to call them expectations because it sounds a little bit less legalistic and authoritative, but these are the things that you need to do in order to survive and be successful in my class without getting in trouble. The first 3 are majors. The fourth one is a convenience, and it avoids problems. So the first 3, these are large umbrella statements. Make sure that you are respectful, responsible, and honest. If you can do those 3 things, you will have no problems in my class. So what does that look like? Being respectful is things like following directions the first time I ask you to do something, and that will apply to any adults that enter the classroom or in the hallways. Make sure you don't talk back or argue with adults. When we ask you to do something, do it. If you don't understand why, say, I understand you want me to do that and I will, but can you tell me why? But make sure you say it nicely. Don't be snarky, don't be accusatory, don't be sarcastic, don't be snotty, and don't be mean. Watch your tone of voice when you speak with people. That goes for students as well. Make sure that you're nice to other students that are in the classroom. You're not teasing them, bullying them, being mean to them, anything like that. Be responsible. How does that look? It starts off with, number 1, just doing your work. When you have an assignment, you do it, you get it done on time. You follow the directions. If it tells you to type a page, you type a full page. Don't horse around in the classroom. Make sure that you're not playing around, doing things you're not supposed to do. Make sure that you're not being loud or disruptive. Keep all body parts to yourself. Don't hit, kick, punch. Don't throw things. Make sure that you're prepared for class. You have your notebook to write in case we're doing notes for the day, and you have something to write with. Make sure that you have your computer with you every day. That's going to be super important. Most of our class is going to be on Canvas again this year. If you don't have your computer, you're not going to be able to get your work done. So make sure that you have your computer with you and that it is charged up. There are a few places where you'll be able to plug it in my classroom, but with everyone coming back full time, there's not very many. If more than 2 of you need to plug a computer in, it's not going to be possible. So make sure that you're fully charged when you wake up in the morning so that your computer will last all day. When you walk into my classroom, the expectation is you do walk into the room. You don't run, you don't jump, you walk into the room. If you're speaking with someone, you're speaking in a normal inside voice. You're not yelling, screaming, hooting and hollering, okay? We're not playing around. You walk in, you walk straight to your desk, you get your hand sanitizer when you get in the door, go to your desk, sit down, get your computer out, get out your notebook and pencil if you are going to need it, and you are ready to get prepared, open up Canvas, and start in on the bell work. That is the expectation when you walk into my classroom. I shouldn't have to tell you every day, have a seat, get started on bell work. You're automatically going to have a seat, open up Canvas, look for bell work to do. The third one, be honest. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Mistakes are going to happen. If something goes wrong, you forget your homework, you forget your computer, you forgot your computer charger and it's dead, you were super tired last night and didn't do your homework, whatever, things happen. Come talk to me, admit what's going on, be honest about it, tell me what's going on, and you will be in a lot less trouble than if you try to hide it from me. If we're in a lab and you drop a piece of glassware and it breaks, it happens. Come tell me, we'll get it cleaned up. You're not going to be in trouble for that. Now, if you were horsing around and you threw something and it knocked the glassware out of somebody's hand, causing them to drop it and break it, you're going to get in trouble for horsing around, but you'll be in less trouble when you come tell me about it than if I find out about it another way. You would much rather come tell me, I'm really sorry, I was playing around and this happened, than for you to try and hide it, because then I send you to the office and let the office deal with it and you get in trouble with the office as well. If you admit to it, you're probably not even going to get a phone call home. You'll get the mean look and a lecture, and that's about it. We'll move on with life. So when something happens, you make a mistake, admit it. You'll be in a lot less trouble that way. Number 4 for the rules and expectations for all. When answering questions in an online document, please use a different color so your answers easily stand out. This helps me with grading, and it helps avoid the problems with, well, I answered that. Miss H, I answered that. How come you didn't see it? Well, if your answer is 2 words long, I might miss it if it's not in a different color like this. So please make sure your answers stand out so that I can very clearly see that you've answered every question. That way when I go through and read the documents and I read through your answers, I don't accidentally miss something because it looks like you did not answer it. At this point, we're done with all of the expectations that apply to everyone, including virtual. So if you're virtual, you can go ahead and scan forward until you see me switch tabs to the lab safety guidelines. If you are in person, stick with me for a couple more minutes here. The rest of this document is for my in-person students only. We do not have food or drink in the science classrooms. There are a couple of exceptions. You can have a sealed water bottle because water is easy to clean up if you make a spill by mistake. That's the only thing that's going to be allowed throughout the day is a sealed water bottle. Food and drink exceptions other than the sealed water bottle, the only exception is going to be during meal times if we are required to eat in the classroom still. Breakfast is before the bell. Go get your breakfast, sit down and eat it. If you can't eat it in the cafeteria and we have to eat it in the classroom, you need to have it done before the bell rings. You'll have a few minutes at the beginning of class when we're working on bell work and I'm taking attendance. Once we start class, that breakfast food needs to be put away. Same thing for lunch. If we are required again to eat lunch in the classrooms, during lunch will be the only time you're allowed to have food out once the morning bell rings to start the day. That is also instantly the only time you're allowed to have cell phones out during the day, is during your lunch shift where you are eating your lunch. If we are eating in the classrooms, please remember that we have to disinfect these tables, and the disinfectant is a chemical and it is toxic. You don't want to get it all over your food so that you ingest it. Make sure that you keep your food in the containers that it came in. Don't place it down on the table without something in between the food and the table so that you don't accidentally get particles or bits of the toxic cleaner on your food. Masks. If we're required to have masks again this year, You need to make sure that you are wearing it appropriately. If you cannot wear your mask appropriately, you will not stay in my classroom. I am high risk. Some of your classmates are high risk. And it's really just a matter of following the rules. Rules apply to everyone. No one is special. No one has an exception to the rule unless we get it in writing from the administrators. I have asthma. I wear my mask all day. I don't want to hear that excuse. I'm going to tell you, I don't care. I have asthma too, and I'm making it. You'll be fine. Wearing it appropriately means wearing it over your mouth and nose. This is a huge soapbox. If we have to wear the masks, you have to wear them appropriately. Over your mouth and nose at all times. Do not take it off unless you are eating lunch. If you're getting a drink of water out of your bottle, take it down, get your drink, put it back up. We're not going to do this thing where you walk around the halls holding the water bottle to your mouth, not drinking out of it so you can have your mask off. That doesn't fly. Keep your mask on, wear it appropriately. You also cannot have the masks that have the vents on the side, to make sure that that is not the case as well. No cell phones or headphones in the classroom, also in the hallways. That is a district policy. You cannot have cell phones and headphones per district policy. The exception to that is if you need headphones for a lesson, then I'll let you have them out. Cell phones need to be completely out of sight at all times. If I see it, I will send you to yonder it. Hats, hoods, and sunglasses. Again, school policy, you can't wear them. It's bad enough trying to figure out who all of you are with the masks over your faces. When you add a hat, hood, sunglasses to that, we really can't tell who's who, and then we have no idea if there's someone in the building who shouldn't be. So, no hats, hood, or sunglasses. Let me say, with those school policies, for the headwear and for the cell phone headphones, I don't care if other teachers don't make you follow that policy. In this classroom, we follow district policy. You will not do the things that the district doesn't want you to do. If that's a problem, you can see yourself out the door. I don't want to hear it. If you tell me, well, so-and-so doesn't make me do it, I'm going to tell you I don't care. Do it anyway. It's the policy. You are not special. We used to have assigned numbers for the class. That was when we had a class set of Chromebooks. You guys all have your own computers now, so that one's not going to apply. Bathroom passes. You're allowed 2 passes per semester. I'm pretty good about keeping track of this. I have a column that I use in my grade book, and once you ask for a pass, I'll mark it down. You get 2 passes each semester. You can leave to the classroom if you need to after your second time, but if you need a 3rd pass out for any reason, it counts as a tardy. So make sure that you're doing your business before you come to class. Get everything done out of the way so you don't have to leave class. If you do ask for a pass and you're gone for an excessive amount of time, please know that you are asking me to call your parents or whoever your guardian is and let them know that you're abusing the pass system and that you will no longer be written passes out of my classroom. So if you get a pass, make sure you go do what you were asking to do and come straight back. Don't play around in the halls. Don't take the long way. Get there, get done, get back. Okay? I know that these sound very strict, but these rules and expectations are here for everyone's safety and everyone's comfort, and I do expect you guys to follow them. If you have an issue with that, this probably isn't the best place for you. We will have a good time. You will enjoy this class. I am usually a very nice person and very easy to get along with, but I do have a high bar set for you guys as far as expectations. And most of the time, you guys always reach that bar. You meet those expectations. So I know you guys can do it again this year. Emergency procedures. If we have an emergency, anytime we leave the building other than in a fire, we're going to meet at the little church that's right up the street, between the Winter and Arlington split there. We're going to take attendance and regroup. That is our rendezvous spot for the building. So anytime that we have to leave the building that is not for a fire or fire drill, that is the building procedure. For fires, we're going to go out the door to the right. We're going to go down the tower stairs, and you're going to exit through the first door available to you. There are a couple of doors between us and the bottom level, so wherever you can get out first, that's where you're going to go out. And then we are going to regroup as close as we can get to the track right in front of that first goal on the football field. If the entire building is leaving all at once, that's not going to be possible. But stay together as a class. Make sure you're in a group, and make sure that as a group you guys are checking in with me, because we do need to take attendance and make note if anyone is missing. We have to turn that in, and if someone is missing, they will go find you. If it is a real fire, they will send a fireman into the building to look for you, and now you're putting someone else's life in danger because you didn't want to follow the rules, and that is not okay. Make sure that you are taking other people into account when you are having an action, okay? If you learn nothing else this year, it's going to be how to be a successful and constructive member of society who can take other people into account and not just be a self-centered individual. Tornadoes. We'll go outside the door to the classroom, and we just sit down along the wall in the hallway on our side of the hallway. Tornadoes, it is super important that you are silent when we are in the hall. There's a difference between quiet and silent. Quiet means you can whisper, giggle, talk in your library voice, those kinds of things. Silent means no sound. You need your ringers off on your phones. You need your voices off. You should not be speaking to anyone. We need to be able to hear the administrators that are walking around with the walkie-talkies that are informing us and keeping us updated with the weather situation. If there's a tornado that's close enough that they've set off the tornado alarm and we're going out to the hallway, we need to be able to know when it's close and when we need to take cover and if there is a danger. So silence so that we can do that. I don't care what the other classes are doing. If other classes are being allowed to talk, I can't do anything about that, but we don't need to add to the problem. Once it's over and we're safe, I will give you a couple of minutes to get the talking out of your system again before we get started on class again. I promise. Intruders. If there's someone in the building that's not supposed to be and they have the intruder alert, the first thing we're going to try to do is get out. Our goal is to get you safe. If we can leave the building, that's what we're going to do. You can go down either set of stairs, whichever one you can get to easiest. Go out the room, down the stairs, get yourself out of the building and to safety. That is the most important thing, is that you are safe. If we can't get out of the room, the intruder's in our hall or the hall below us or in the stairs or just outside the dock doors or whatever, we're going to go into the closet and get as many of you in the closet as we can. We'll leave the lights off. We need all cell phones completely off. We don't want them on silent because they'll still light up if someone calls or texts you. So turn your cell phones completely off so we don't give away where we're at. If we can't all fit in the closet, then you can start utilizing the spaces underneath and behind the lab benches. Remember that if you can see the door, the people at the door can see you. So find someplace safe to hide. Take something with you, a textbook, a stapler, something out of your backpack that you can throw if the guy or gal comes in, whatever. The last one is an earthquake. This is very unlikely. The nearest fault is the New Madrid down in southern Missouri. It's going to be very rare that we feel it up here in the Kansas City area with enough force that it's actually going to cause damage and problems. We do occasionally feel some minor quakes, but it's nothing more than, bottles on a shelf rattling, pictures on the wall rattling, that kind of thing. It's not damage causing. If on the off chance the big one hits and we can feel it up here, you're just going to get underneath your desks to take cover so that the ceiling tiles and lights don't fall on your head. If the building is shaking, there is a possibility that all those desks will shake back and forth and they could move. So just make sure you grab a hold of either the bar or the legs to keep them over top of you. That way, whatever falls down falls on the desk instead of you. And then once it's safe, we leave the building. So that is the gist of the rules and expectations. I know that I sound really strict and mean in this video, but it is very important to me that you understand all of the rules apply to everyone. No one is going to be an exception to those rules. You have to be able to follow these in order to function and be successful in here. That is a great life skill to learn. Do what you're asked to do. Follow the rules wherever you're at. You're going to need to be able to do that for a job anyway, so you might as well learn it now. Hopefully, this is the last time you'll get to hear the mean voice. Okay, moving on to lab safety guidelines. This is where our virtual kids will hopefully rejoin us. Read through this document. It has some lab safety information on preventing accidents, how to work in a lab, how to clean up. The main thing is when we're doing a lab, don't mess with any lab equipment until you're told to. Make sure that you read all instructions and all parts of the lab before you start. So if I give you a handout or a document to read from start to finish before you start doing anything. If something happens, tell the teacher. I will help you figure out how to clean it up, and we'll get it taken care of. Remember that accidents happen. You'll be in less trouble for telling me about it than me finding about it later. Follow the directions that are in the lab document. Only do what you're supposed to be doing in the lab. Don't be horsing around. Don't go off on a tangent if doing something different than what the lab procedure asks you to do. The exception to that is if the lab asks you to have an extension where you create a subsequent experiment to run after you've done the first one. But those procedures will need to be approved before you start them. So you would do the lab, come up with a lab procedure for the extension, get that approved by the teacher, and then do that part of the lab. Make sure that you clean up after the lab. The instructions will tell you how to clean up, or I will tell you how to clean up. So make sure you're listening to instructions from me. Most of the supplies and materials that we're going to use are going to be fairly easy to clean up. You'll have bins to put the used supplies in, or they could go down the trash or the sink. But please make sure that you're putting them away, cleaning up in an appropriate manner. We don't want to clog the sinks. We don't want to put smelly things where they don't belong, because we all have to be in this room for the rest of the year. So if you stick things in drawers that don't belong in drawers and it starts smelling, we are all going to suffer. Most of the drawers are going to be locked at all times. Please don't try to open drawers when you're not supposed to. There are a few that the locks are broken. If you stick stuff in there and it starts smelling, it's going to be bad for all of us. So please keep that in mind and don't mess around and do things you're not supposed to do. Once you've read through all of these expectations and procedures, the third tab that I have open here is a quiz over the expectations. It's linked right here, expectations acknowledgement. This is basically just one question saying that you've read and understood all of the expectations for the classroom, the labs, and virtual learning if that applies to you. The virtual learning expectations are going to be the same for every class. It's the district policies. You understand them. You will agree to follow those guidelines as well as any teacher instructions. And you know that refusing to follow any of those will result in consequences that could include immediate removal from class. There's only one choice here. The only thing you can do is answer yes. This is actually for points. You will get points for this assignment. If you do not answer yes on this little mini quiz, you will not be allowed to participate in labs. End of story. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you're not going to agree to follow the rules, I'm not going to let you do labs. I'm not going to let you do activities. You'll do a paper instead. So, make sure that you do this and you acknowledge this and agree to follow the rules in my class. Click yes, hit submit quiz, and you are done for this video. We'll see you next time with a much happier tone.